Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and there are countless anti-lockdown protests happening throughout the world right now that really has a lot of people wondering, are there more of us than we realize? I mean, there's like over 100,000 people overall over the last couple protests in Britain, in London. I mean, there are really very big signs that we are starting to see a concerted movement that should give us all hope. I'm not sure how much hope I have yet, because there's a big difference between being awake and protesting for the government to do things and actually standing up for yourself when it comes to these insane lockdowns. And I want to bring up this article out of Zero Hedge. It says, Madrid erupts as citizens clash with police during anti-lockdown riots. And let me be clear, these cops, half of them not wearing masks, are beating people up and touching them, not social distancing, in order to stop their protest, which in the end could have just been a protest and they would have gone home. But the police shoot tear gas and they cause all these, they rile up protesters, and then things get crazy, and then they say, we're here to protect you. It's exactly what government does so often. And there's a reason why these people are so mad, and I'll bring up a few other articles here. This one out of DW.com says, coronavirus protesters clash with police at London anti-lockdown demo. And my friend Jamie Ike was, I believe, speaking there, as well as Garrett Von Ike, the sons of course, David Ike, famous theorist and official story skeptic that everyone should know at this point. We've interviewed him before, and there's the clashes because the police are so insistent that there's this virus is going to kill everyone that they try to spread it more by going in and beating people over the head for standing up for their freedoms. That's another interesting word there, because we see this article out of TorontoSun.com. It says, anti-lockdown protesters believe COVID restrictions threaten freedom. Believe? Like, is there any doubt? When the government comes in and says you can't do things right there, from the get-go, that's a restriction of freedom. There's no doubt about that. And we see this one from my hometown, where I'm currently forced quarantined in a house because I crossed a land border. It says, unjustifiable. Protesters demand immediate end to Manitoba's COVID-19 lockdown. I've been somewhat in contact with some of the people organizing those events. And I know from the people that were there and some of the speakers that some Antifa people showed up. It started shouting in children's face without a mask on and throwing gravel at people and screaming like rabidly like a troll person. I mean, it's just insane what we're witnessing right now, and the fact that it's made political. Suddenly Antifa is supporting government restrictions and police lockdowns. I mean, it's just what they've managed to do in the media to brainwash people is truly magnificent. It's unbelievable, it's brilliant, and absolutely horrifying. Now look, why are people out in the streets? Well, first of all, let's go back a little bit. So at the beginning of this, we were told, hug a Chinese person day, Nancy Pelosi going out in the streets and telling everyone to go to Chinatown, and because the U.S. government was walking hand in hand with China to create a massive global crisis. And the crisis might not be the pandemic, it's a lockdown, which Bill Gates back in April said the lockdown will kill more people than the virus itself, but we need the lockdown. I mean, this is the evil of these insane people who initially said masks don't work, and suddenly they found some great new scientific studies out of nowhere after years of scientific studies that say the opposite, that masks are what we need and they need to be mandated, and if you don't wear one, you could go to jail and get beaten up at your kid's baseball game for not wearing one with your family while also socially distancing in stands by police that aren't wearing masks. Now, of course, Fauci runs the Institute for Allergies and Infectious Diseases, which got millions of dollars in grants from 2015 to 2019, October 2019, I believe it ended, to study coronavirus in bats that's 96% similar to novel coronavirus at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which the World Health Organization, run by China, refuses to investigate in their investigations in Wuhan. Amazing that anyone's buying this, and I'm just called a conspiracy theorist. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, my friends, obviously. And then Bill Gates makes insane money off of this. All these big monopolies make huge money. All these small businesses go under. 28 million people face homelessness. Once the moratoriums are up in the United States alone, and after that, I mean, what happens? The bank repossesses the house. The government takes over those houses. They give away a bunch of free houses as a relief program, and says you should thank us. It's basically communist control of private property, and it's basically communist, and they expect everyone to say thanks, government. Thanks for fixing fixing the problem you created in the first place and then taking away more and more freedoms and normalizing that incremental frog boil towards complete collectivist enslavement. It's insane. Why are people mad? Because they don't have jobs. Why are people mad? Because they've been told all these things and it's been so conflicting and it keeps going up against each other. It's not consistent, all these so-called facts that are coming out. We have different health ministries around the world saying completely different things, while the lockdowns are almost word to word the same in every country in the world. I've read the government documents from every single country in the world on restrictions on travel. And guess what? They're almost word for word copy and pasted in every country in the world. Every single one. Is that a coincidence? It's as much of a coincidence as when CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBC, CTV, Global, BBC all say the exact same thing in their newscast word for word by a script. It goes back to Operation Mockingbird. It's all about completely fooling the masses into their slumber, into their subservience, to blindly walk like zombies into this collectivist paradigm that's propped up by the government in order to prop up the government further, because the government cannot exist without constantly growing its control complex more and more. Why would they relent that? As it grows and as it grows, you have all these people that think they're helping. They're part of some like game, some movie. They're just in fantasy world and they think they're helping people and they're heroes. Meanwhile, they're helping in the enslavement of mankind. And that's exactly what happened in Nazi Germany. That's exactly what happened in Stalinist Russia. And we're going full technocracy here. We're looking at vaccines, not forced where they go to your door and force it into your arm. You just have social credit scores through your bank account, through your money, through the monetary system, like China, where they track you everywhere. You can't go anywhere without being tracked. And if you want to go to a restaurant, if you want to go on a plane, if you want to get a bank account, if you want to get a job, if you want to get a house, you will need a social credit score. And if you have a social credit score, you won't be able to get those things unless you have a vaccine that's tied to the social credit score. And they might be doing, as they've been saying lately, possibly every month you'll be getting another vaccine. It's insane. And the fact that people are falling for this is so depressing for me, because I've always had very little hope for the majority of people, but I hope that through evolution of technology that we could replace the old guard with the new guard. I was mistaken about how efficient government can actually be in these evil plots, that they could actually be somewhat efficient at these at ensuring these evil plots are successful. And guess what? They have been incredibly successful. Most people have fallen for it, and even the people that are awake, for the most part, don't do anything. They sit on their hands. They're waiting for some savior. Well, they're the savior. You have to live by example. Freedom is individualistic. It's not collectivist. Freedom is about how you take care of yourself and your ability to sustain yourself and how free you are as an individual. You don't have rights. You are the right. You are the right. You either are free or you aren't at all. You have two choices. So you have to make that choice. Be free or, live by example, or become a slave. Fall to your knees and die on your knees. And that's basically where we're at. So when I see people standing up, that's great. And I really love seeing how it's the same in Amsterdam and Germany and Berlin. We saw huge movements. There's been anti-lockdown protests all over the world. The news is barely talking about it. Well, and it's against the terms of service on YouTube for me to say this. So find me on the other social media platforms like LBRY, BitChute, and Flote. But with that said, I hope it continues. And I hope I see a lot more of it, because it's needed now more than ever. This isn't going to relent. When we go into the flu season, they're going to blame everything on COVID, with the tests that the creator of the test himself said only test for like exosomes, and it could test you positive if you have a cold sore, or it could test you positive if you have another form of coronavirus, or if you have antibodies from a past coronavirus that most people have had. And a huge percentage of the population always has a virus in them at all times, and about 10% of those people, or somewhere around that ballpark, actually have symptoms of it. Now, I mean, they're just going to keep cracking down. We'd be fooling ourselves if things aren't going to get worse before they get better. But I do believe that we have a chance. But we need more of us standing up, because they are doing all these things because they can, because we don't do anything about it. Don't ask government to fix things. Be the fix. Be the change. It's the same thing Gandhi said all those years ago. Is be the change you wish to see in the world. And it's so simple and it's been heard a million times. Well, do it. Anyway, I really appreciate everyone joining us today. Make sure to share this all over social media to get around the shadow banning. Hit that like button to get around the shadow banning as well. It helps us a little bit with the algorithm. And most importantly, find us on LBRY, find us on BitChute, and find us on Flote. And join our newsletter at www.iambanned.com. It takes 2 seconds to put your email in. Also, of course, there's GoFundMe, Patreon, and Subscribestar, as we are 100% demonetized on YouTube, and we are dependent on people really keeping this message going and bringing that truth to the masses. And it takes people like you guys to be the heartbeat. And I really appreciate everyone that has helped. It really does truly mean a lot to us. There's also Bitcoin addresses and a Cointree link that will lead you to all of our other crypto addresses. So I really appreciate everything you guys have done for us so far and into the future. And let's keep pledging and making sure that we can bring this message to the future, because we have run out of time. We are in the time of action, not so much in the time of education. There's room for education, but we're kind of past that point at this point. We're in the warrior mode at this point, and we don't have much of a choice but to be in that situation. So anyway, I appreciate everyone watching this video, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. My friends, it is go time. We are completely demonetized on YouTube, and we depend on the viewer to stay alive and spread the message of freedom and truth. So check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, anything you guys could do to help keep independent media alive helps enormously in helping spread this message to the masses. So make sure to check those links. Donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen or below. We really appreciate anything you could do to keep us alive. You could check those links below for Cointree as well, where you can find other cryptocurrencies that you can donate and keep WAM alive. Find us on flote.app, flote.app, as well as BitChute and LBRY and Minds. We're on all the other platforms. We are leaving YouTube soon, so make sure to find us at those sites, because it's the only way we can keep talking to you, the masses, the great people that actually care about the future of free humanity. Also, join our new newsletter at www.iambanned.com. Anything helps at this point, guys. We need to support free information online. This is the most difficult time in our history, and it takes a lot of hard work to keep our message alive in the face of great evils that have taken over the propaganda news on television as well as on YouTube, where YouTube decides what you can or cannot see. We need your help, my friends. So I really appreciate anything you guys can do. Check those links. There's many ways you can help. Until next time, though, thanks, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.